Welcome back to the Deep Dive, listeners. Today we're diving into a tough topic, the opioid crisis, and we're going to be focusing on Philadelphia, specifically the Kensington neighborhood.
Right.
You might have heard it called Zombie City. It's a pretty unsettling name.
Yeah.
Right. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack today using some information we've gathered.
Yeah.
Our goal today is to really try to understand what's driving this crisis, the impact it's having on people, and the efforts being made to address it. Hopefully by the end, we can all walk away with a clearer picture of this really complex situation.
I think when you hear that nickname, Zombie City, you immediately think of some pretty shocking imagery. And that's really what we're looking at here. I mean, the information we have describes people, slumped over, frozen, just kind of moving really slowly and uncoordinated.
It's, yeah.
And it's not random. You
Yeah.
know, this is directly linked to the drugs in the area. I'm talking fentanyl, xylazine, or, as it's also known, tranq.
Yeah, and it's not just isolated incidents, right?
No, not at all.
What we're looking at is widespread, isn't it? I mean, encampments, open-air drug markets, and all this is happening in broad daylight.
Exactly.
It's really a visible humanitarian crisis, and it's happening in a major American city.
It really is. And it's a stark example of how the opioid crisis has escalated, especially with these synthetic opioids, fentanyl. It's strong, much stronger than heroin.
Much stronger.
Like we're talking 50 times stronger. And that changes everything. That kind of potency means dependency happens much faster, and the risk of overdose skyrockets. It's a huge strain on emergency services, too.
And then there's the xylazine, the tranq. It's disturbing.
It is.
I mean, not just the sedation, but the wounds, these severe wounds that can lead to amputations. It's a really grim element to this whole situation.
Definitely. And then you have to consider the scale of this in Philadelphia. The overdose rates are some of the highest in the nation.
Wow.
Thousands of lives lost every year. And this is happening even with ongoing efforts to combat it. It's a tough situation, no doubt.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
But even with all of that, there's this resilience in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
You have to acknowledge there are community organizations, volunteers, medical professionals, people working tirelessly to provide aid, medical care, shelter, addiction recovery programs. It's pretty inspiring to see that compassion amidst all this hardship.
Absolutely. And what's important to remember is there's no easy answer to this crisis. There are a lot of different approaches being debated. Some call for stricter law enforcement to disrupt the drug trafficking. Others are pushing for expanded health care, harm reduction strategies, things like providing clean supplies to prevent disease and hopefully reduce overdoses.
That's really...
It highlights how complicated finding a solution really is.
It does. It really does. And it's not all hopeless either, right? There are these recovery stories, people who were trapped in addiction, living on the streets of Kensington, who have managed to recover and rebuild their lives.
That's right.
It's a powerful reminder that change is possible even in this situation.
It is. But we also need to be realistic about the ongoing nature of this. The efforts are there, the stories are inspiring, but the situation in Philadelphia, especially Kensington, it remains a huge challenge.
It does. So to kind of sum it all up, that term zombie city, as unsettling as it is, it reflects a very real and serious problem fueled by these incredibly potent drugs like fentanyl and xylazine. We've seen the scale of the crisis in Philadelphia, the devastating impact it has on people and the community, but we've also seen the efforts, the resilience of the people fighting to make a difference.
And it brings us to a final thought I'd like to leave you with.
Yeah.
Think about all the different factors contributing to this. You have economic hardship.
Yeah.
You have the widespread availability of these powerful drugs, and then you have the way society is trying to respond to it in itself.
Right.
What can we learn from Philadelphia's experience, both the struggles and the initiatives? What lessons can other communities maybe facing similar crises take away from all of this?
It's a lot to think about, that's for sure, and it's something we all need to be aware of.
I agree.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll be back next time with another deep dive into, well, another important topic. Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and as always, keep thinking deeply.
See you next time.